These are the 2016 NTSU Exec elections.
How are you to start with? How was the interview?
It went a lot better than I thought, actually. A lot of questions I wasn't expecting, but I think I handled it with style. So.
Okay. Well, how do you plan to ensure that your students feel equally treated to those living in UPP halls? Because you said you wanted to improve the Freshers Week experience by giving all students a chance, but how are you going to do this with transport being like a major issue?
Yeah, so I think transport will be a major issue, but as I was saying in a few of the Q&As before, gauging from responses and feedback from students, I mean, not all students, for example, from BRAC want to go to City, not all students from City want to go to BRAC, so I think it is feasible to put on 1 or 2 buses. The great thing about Freshers Week is that they're in a whole new environment, so what their fresher reps tell them, like they will live by that. So if their fresher or if their fresher crew members will say, look, City's a nice night out, then I think they might venture out and explore.
Because you want to organise more live acts and performances for the SU.
Yeah.
This has been a major thing in the Q&A.
Yeah.
How do you think this is actually going to work, considering costs? Like, do you have contacts or have a way of doing this? Yeah,
so I do actually have a system that as City Liaison Officer, I was really looking forward to bringing into play. But being a part-time officer, and when people want to do their own thing, sometimes you just got to sit back and let them do what they got to do. But I'm not going to give too much away, but I do have a system. It's going to show the most upcoming talent, and it proved its worth this year, because the most upcoming talent which have blown, we could have got them. But yeah.
Which would that be?
Jack Garrett would have been one. Into is another. Into Western with a song, you'd be lying if I said that one. So there are a few. So I'm just glad that I know the system works. It's just about getting the role and then putting that into play.
What have you done in your time at uni that makes you suitable for this role?
So I've literally just said that in the last 35 seconds, but again, I've been engaged since I joined in my first year, being parts of loads of societies, from Christian Union to Afro-Caribbean Society, now being part of American football, being on their committee, being part of cheer, going in competitions with them, and then recently joining Fly FM, doing my own Thursday morning surgery, which has been really good. Apart from that, being really engaging, because I study politics, I host a lot of debates, so I'm just like an all-rounded person. Like, I fit in each aspect of university life, I'd say.
Okay, how did you find that your speech went?
I quite enjoyed it. I was so scared before I went up there, but when I was up there, I don't know if it's the lights, the microphone, but I really enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it. There's a few questions looking back on it now, being like, oh, I should have answered them differently, but obviously when you're under pressure and stuff. But I find it fine, yeah.
No,
it's not something I would like to do again, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the experience. In your manifesto, you mentioned that for Freshers Week you want to introduce more activities. What do you actually plan to do with that? Like, what sort of things?
Yeah, so instead of having, because we all know there's activity every night at night time during Freshers Week, and what I would like to have is more activities during the day, even though I know there is already activities happening. I would just like more activities where students from each halls can get involved with each other, so they're interacting with each other. And what I would like to see would be like board games and sports, and more sports, and not like comedy clubs and quiz nights. But also the reason why I put that on my manifesto was because I was a vice captain of New Halls this year, and I felt, and from my reps' feedback, that they felt they weren't really doing much in the mornings, which is perfectly understandable. A lot of freshers are hungover, so we don't want to disturb them, but they felt like the days were a little bit pointless, so that's why I have put that in my manifesto.
With that though, what other stuff are you thinking about doing for the evening? Because I know a lot of it just involves drinking and clubs and things like that. But during Freshers Week, students actually have things to go to, such as opening lectures and welcome talks. So what can you do for the evenings as well as the day? Yeah,
well, there are events in the evening apart from drinking, such as film nights, again, comedy nights, quiz nights, but I don't feel there's enough awareness made about that, and that's something, if elected into this role, I would want to make sure, because not every student wants to go out and drink every night, especially the mature students, and especially if it's hard coming away from home and you're young and you don't know what you're doing and you're meeting all these new people people. So you don't want to go out and drink every night. So yeah, what I would probably do would be just promote and make more awareness that there are other events going on during Freshers Week, and you don't just have to go to the drinking events.
These are the 2016 NTSU Exec elections.